Good morning, ATD family. It is a rainy day here on the East Coast. We have not been having great weather this week, unfortunately, but that does not stop baseball. Baseball continues to happen no matter what the weather. It's kind of like the post. Rain, sleet, snow, or hail, the U.S. mail will prevail, and apparently so does baseball. So, it is another rousing episode of ATD Grand Slam Sam Baseball Bill here. We're going to talk all things going on this week. We got some great topics for you. We're going to run through what's going on in the standings. We are going to start this off as we always do. Baseball Bill, how are you doing on what I hope is a beautiful Saturday morning on your side of the
It's supposed to be 83 degrees today. It's going to be a beautiful day.
I hate you so much right
Yeah,
now.
I pay extra for that though. I mean, don't ask me what the price of housing is out here. But I have never ever once you are making me laugh to start this thing out because I've never once equated baseball to the United States Postal Service. That's a new one for me, but I think that that's awesome. I'll take it. Sign me up.
I mean, look, if they're gonna play in the snow, if they're gonna play in the rain, might as well play in sleet and snow
Why
and throw
not?
some hail in there. Forget it. Just throw some hail at him.
Why not? Let's
Like the
do
size
it.
of a baseball anyway, so they'll just think it's another ball. You'll just see the guy swinging the bat all over the place. They'll be like, no, no, that's it.
Like
Um,
it's like the comedian I heard one time was out golfing
yeah,
and he was swinging because he hit it in the rough and there was a snake out there. So he's swinging to try to like move the snake and his buddy's counting strokes. He's like, no, 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 there's a snake. He's like, yeah, that's three, four, five. He's like, no, I'm swinging to get rid of the snake. Anyways,
that's it. Well, we're going to start this off like we've been doing recently. First and foremost, we got to thank our amazing sponsors, Drunken Gentlemen's Clothing Company. Bill, how awesome is the material and the product that these guys put out?
these guys do a great job. I was actually with Josh last weekend. We
I
did
saw.
a Yeah, we did a cornhole tournament, and Josh was doing great. It was awesome. Uh, they got great clothing apparel. You got to go check them out online. They're great people.
I mean, I check them out every now and then. But baseball attire is kind of what I've been rocking this year so far because we're in the season. And then we got love Ruby's Diner out there on the PCH. Beautiful view overlooking the coast. Make sure if you go there, you grab yourself a classic burger, an amazing milkshake, and sit up on the roof deck, overlook the ocean side. It is such a gorgeous, gorgeous place there at Ruby's Diner on the Pacific Coast
We're
Highway.
we're gonna be there in 2 weeks on the 25th. We're gonna be there for another dinner and a movie night.
There you go. We can't stop there. We got to keep running. And what does America run on? Dunkin'. But what does the Inland Empire run on? Seven
Duncan.
different Dunkin' Donuts locations.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Colton, Rancho Santa Margarita, the two locations in Colton, Rancho Santa Margarita. You've got the Rancho Cucamonga, not Rancho Santa Margarita. Rancho Cucamonga, Colton,
You
two
thinking about a
locations.
margarita right now, Bill? I know you're not a drinker.
No, Rancho Santa Margarita is by my house. So
Oh, gotcha.
yeah. So
Oh, it's an
um
actual place. I gotcha.
yeah,
That
it's yes, sir. It's an actual place. So anyways, they got 7 or 8 locations out there. They do a great job.
Yeah, gotta thank our sponsors because they allow us to do what we do so we can give you all this great baseball knowledge. So we're gonna jump into the standings this week. Bill, you want to take the American League?
I
Kind of
do.
run through what we're
I
doing.
do. Because you're feeling pretty special right now
I
about
am
the National.
feeling pretty special this week. I'm feeling really special right now. And
So
look, that might change throughout the season, but I'm gonna live high on it while I can.
yes. So the American League East is a little bit of a surprise to me because I picked the Yankees to win that. I picked the Red Sox to be right there. I did not pick the Orioles to have a slow start, nor did I pick the Blue Jays to have such a great start. Although Vlad Guerrero Jr. signing a 14-year, $1,900 trillion contract, all deferred. He gets paid $1,000 a year for the first 97 years or whatever it is. But
Well, you're
Blue
used
Jays
to
are
the
starting off hot.
contract.
The
You're used
Tigers are
to the
starting off
contract.
exactly the way that I thought the Tigers would. The surprise there to me is the Royals. The Royals are having a slow start. I did not expect the Twins to lose 10 out of their first 14. The Rangers are starting hot. They're coming in hot, but so are the Angels. Now, the Angels got manhandled yesterday by the Astros like 11-3 or 14-3 or something like that. The Mariners are exactly right where I think they're going to do. The Mariners are going to Mariner, as they say about the Mets. The Mets are going to Met. The Athletics are right where I thought they would be. Now, Jackson over at the Weekly Review thinks that the Athletics are going to win that division. I think, well, I'll be nice. But surprises for you, Sam, in this league.
Um, when I'm looking at the American League, I think the biggest surprise to me is the Royals. They're not having the hot start, and as they finished so strong at the end of last year, and they got taken by the Yankees by not that big of a margin in the ALCS. And I figured that would motivate them to have a hot start this year, and it hasn't happened. Like I wasn't expecting them to go undefeated in the first 14 games that they've played, but I was expecting, closer to the 9-5 or 9-4, like somewhere in that range. Like, I was not expecting a 7-7 start.
Mm-mm.
Um, Orioles, we've talked about them. I'm still high on them, but there's a lot that's happening in that organization right now, and I think that that's playing a huge factor. Um, and I think the Blue Jays locking up the face of their franchise for the next 14 seasons has really given them a boost of confidence to know that he's going to be there for the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
I know you were gung ho set on before the trade deadline him being in an Angels jersey, and I'm sorry to see that your prediction is not coming to fruition.
No, you know what? I wasn't gung ho set on it. I thought that it just made sense, but I like this move by the Blue Jays because again, bringing Santander in, now they got to lock up Bo Bichette. They lock up the offense. Now they got to lock up some pitching.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they definitely do. And I think Scherzer, similar to Verlander. Now, granted, Verlander on the Giants side, and I'm talking vet pitchers. I'm talking veteran pitchers still in the league, still playing at a very high level. Verlander's not getting as hot of a start as he has had in the past. But what I think you're seeing is now these veteran pitchers, now that the year has started, really diving deep into these young guys and helping them feel more comfortable, getting set, getting ready to play. And I think that that's what we're seeing with the Blue Jays in their pitching, because their pitching has been stellar. Their pitching has been unbelievable in these first 14 games. So, I mean, yeah, they've got 6 losses on them, but those 8 wins, minus, take away the offensive production, the pitching was incredible. It was incredible pitching in those 8 wins that they've had. So, do I think the Tigers are going to win that division in the Central? Probably. It's not the strongest division in baseball, as we've talked about. Is the AL East as a whole shocking me? 100%. I mean, this is just nuts. And then in the West, I'm actually happy Mike Trout is doing well.
Mm-hmm.
He's Man is hitting home runs. It looks like he's feeling like his old self. And I'm looking at Mike, I'm thinking like the old self in like the first like 5 years of his career. Cranking home runs, playing high quality baseball, fielding at a high level. Unlike the Astros, where they threw the shortest man in baseball in left field, and the guy is running all over the place like a chicken with his head cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep. that was a unique move. And if you ask some Astro fans, they'll tell you. I actually talked to two Astro fans this week, three actually, and they all said the same thing. Jose Altuve struggled catching fly balls at second base. That was his Achilles heel, and he's struggling catching fly balls in the outfield. You don't put a guy who can't get a good beat on a ball when it's in the air in the outfield.
Yeah, it's a shame because they're not moving him back to second base. They don't see him. There's no chance he's coming back to second base unless they need him as a fill-in for a game or something like that. So if I am Altuve, I would be taking every opportunity I can to just have them put that pitching machine up as high as they can, put as many balls in that sucker as possible, move it around into the left field, left center field range, and just catch as many. You're like, you got to catch 50 fly balls before you can end practice for the day. Like, this has to become second nature to him. It just does. Because unfortunately, this is his new reality.
Right.
Just is. What's the biggest shocker for you in the AL?
Biggest shocker for me is the Orioles. I did not expect them to start out that bad.
Yeah.
I, I I thought that the Orioles would fight the Blue Jays for third place, and it would be Yankees and Red Sox. But now there's again very small sample size, 13 games, so I don't know.
Anything can happen. We are still very, early in the season. Still a lot of baseball left to play. But yeah, the Orioles starting 5-8 is a shocker. But that team is young. They're gonna turn it around. Um, I think we'll be seeing them fight for third still. I don't see them staying in the bottom of the barrel for long. I
Right.
see the Rays. I see the Rays taking over that last place spot in the next couple of weeks. I have no confidence in them.
There you go.
So let's take a move over to the National League, my friend. Let's take a move. Let's move it on over. The
Moving
Mets are
on up.
finally the Mets are finally in first place where I think we all expected them to be with who they picked up this offseason. 9-4, 8-2 in their last 10. Phillies right behind them, 8-5. Braves though, man, oh man, that Braves starting 1-7 when we did this last week to now being 3-10. This Braves team has got to figure it out. Moving over into the Central, we're seeing a fight. We're seeing a dog fight right now. We're seeing the Brewers and the Cubs fighting for that top spot because they are so close together. They are just so close in competition with each other right now. It's incredible. Cardinals 6-7, Reds 6-8, and the Pirates. Unfortunately, I wanted to see the Pirates be doing better, but starting off 5-9, still a lot of baseball left to play. Anything can happen. And as we move into the West, we move into the Wild Wild West, which we're going to talk deep about today. So I'm not going to dive too much into it right now. Padres holding strong in that top spot, 11-3, 7-3 in their last 10. Giants coming in 10-3, 8-2 in their last 10, looking sharp. Dodgers 11-4. I mean, just had two unfortunate losses to the Nationals this week. But still in that realistically that top spot because these three teams are all within half a game of each other. D-backs starting 50-50 and the Rockies where we expected them to be 3-10. So what, Bill, biggest shockers in each division or in each division. Give them to me.
So if I go each division, the biggest shocker to me in the East is the Braves. They're starting off 3-10. Now, again, that's if in their first 40 games they're 15-25, well, now we got a problem, right? 3-10, that doesn't. I mean, they're good enough where they can go on a winning streak where they win 12 out of 15 and change this completely around. That I'm not worried about that. Um, On a positive note, the Nationals, and we'll talk about when we get to the American League, or I mean, when we talk about the West, the Nationals are a lot better than people think. I've mentioned this before, they have a lot of really, really good rookies over there. James Wood, Dylan Cruz is over there, Call is over there. They've got a lot of good young talent, and everybody's sleeping on the Nationals, but don't do that. The Central is such an exciting division to watch, but it's surprising. The Pirates are not even competitive in their losses. They're not even competitive losses. The Reds have started off a lot slower than I thought. The Cubs, in their first 13 games, and I haven't looked it up since, but in their first 13 games, they scored 84 runs.
Hmm.
84 runs. They're they were averaging in their first 13 games 6.4 runs a game. That's freaking amazing, Sam. That's amazing. And everything that you consider, that is absolutely amazing. So, and then we'll talk about the West in a little bit, but uh, Braves having the same record as the Rockies, that surprises me.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, and you brought up a really good point. I mean, when we're looking at the run scored to run differential landscape, I mean, and this is what I'm talking about with the Brewers and the Cubs being in a dogfight because the Brewers have have brought in 75 runs, but they've given up 74. Whereas the Cubs have scored 96 runs compared to the 71 they've given up. Like it is that is an incredible split between
Plus
those
minus
two.
differential. Yeah, it's crazy.
That is an incredible differential. The only other team in all of baseball that has as big of a differential than the only two teams that have as big of a differential than the Cubs are the Padres and the Giants. The Padres have given up 65 have earned 65 runs and given up 43. The Giants 66 given up 40. I mean, that those are just two incredible numbers, but nothing is taken away from the fact that the Cubs have just been putting up runs. They have more
And
runs than any other team in baseball right now by an
so
astronomical margin, except the Yankees. The Yankees have scored 83.
what is interesting about the Cubs, though, is it's a really hot and it's a really cold scenario. So last night against the Dodgers, they faced a really good pitcher in Yamamoto, and they got shut out.
Yeah.
Right? For a team that scores 96 runs to get shut out, not, I mean, your shutouts are going to happen. You're going to have a half a dozen of them a season. If you're the White Sox, you're going to have 45 of them a season. It's not the end of the world, right? But sorry, White Sox fans, I was just joking.
No,
Um,
you weren't.
I was just joking. I know too many
No,
White
you
Sox.
weren't. You weren't joking. Don't
I
lie
was joking. 45 is a lot of
about
shutouts, maybe 20. But, anyways, that being said, the Cubs are really a hot and a cold team. And what's going to be interesting is down the stretch, when we're talking about dog days of summer, when we get into June, July, and August, how does that play out for them?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. And like you said, we're not going to touch much on the West because that's one of our that's one of our segments today in our Bills corner. But yeah, it's just incredible to see how this team is doing. Um, so we're gonna move on because we're gonna talk heavily about the West in a little bit.
yep.
But let's take a quick look at this injury report. We're starting to see more and more injuries come up. It's
Mhm.
starting to happen. We knew this is what was going to come. We're going to start seeing a lot more guys, hitting this injury report than we did in the first 2 weeks. But a couple of big ones. Brandon Woodruff out until May 9th with a shoulder injury. That is big for the Brewers, who are in a close competition with the Cubs. Houston, Luis Garcia with an elbow injury out until the beginning of June, and Victor Robles for Seattle out until basically after the All-Star break. Those are big injuries for those three teams. Bill, what about the last three on this injury report?
So John Means is going to hurt Cleveland a little bit. I watched Cleveland play in Anaheim this season already. Cleveland's a very, very, very good team. Gavin Stone is out for the season. I believe he's having Tommy John. Um, the so we'll see how that plays itself out. And then Alex Manaea, that hurts Toronto. He's been kind of all over the place the last couple of seasons, but he's a pitcher that you need innings from. He can eat up some innings for you, and he's never going to be that dominant pitcher like that we see or have had careers like JV or Max Scherzer or any of those guys. He's not going to be a dominant pitcher, but he's going to be an innings eater, and he'll get you 6 or 8 wins a season.
Yeah,
So that hurts for him being out.
yeah. Biggest impacted injury on this week's injury report for their
Brandon
team.
Woodruff,
Yeah,
Brandon Woodruff, because they're going to need they're going to need him to make a stretch run. So right now they're fine with the Cubs, but when the Reds kind of pick it up into higher gear, can they fend off two different teams? And as we looked, so for those of you listening on Bleacher Brothers, we put up we put up the standings. But if you're watching this on YouTube, you see it or you saw it. One of the things that is going to be very very difficult for this Milwaukee Brewers team is it might be a winner go home in that division.
yep.
So your three wild cards right now, if you looked at your three wild cards, it would be the Cubs, it would be the Dodgers, it would be the Giants, right? I mean, 14 games
Did
in,
it
that's what
hurt
it would
you?
be.
Quick question: did it hurt you saying that the Dodgers would be a wild card seed for a second?
Not at all. Not at all. I have jewelry I'm getting. I don't intend on not getting jewelry at the end of this season as well. So not at all.
I saw your reel on Instagram being like, oh, the 2025, 2026, 2027,
Uh-huh,
2028,
uh-huh.
2029 world champion LA Dodgers. And I'm hoping you're not
30,
cursing the team.
31, 32. As long as Shohei's
I'm
there,
hoping you're not putting a curse on the team going into, the rest of the season by saying it. Uh,
I hope not. But no, it's for Milwaukee, they need everything they possibly can get at all times.
yeah. And I definitely think, like you said, competing with this dominant Cubs team right now, you've got to be firing on all cylinders. All cylinders. So, Brand,
100%.
I would agree with you. Brandon Woodruff is probably the most impactful injury on this. Now, granted, it's not a long term, it's only about a month, but that month a lot can change, especially with the runs a lot of these teams are going to start going on with 12 games on, 1 day off, 17 games on, 1 day off. We're seeing a lot of teams right now. Giants have a 17 game stretch without a day of rest. So they're gonna need him back, and luckily it's not as long term as it is, but this month is going to be very impactful because if the Brewers split 500 in this time that he's out, and the Cubs go, I don't know, 20-10, that will drastically change that National League Central division. Drastically change.
100%. 100%. 1000%.
Yeah. So, before we get into some of the fun stuff we like to talk about, we got to give another shout out to our sponsors. Uh, you know, while we run on Duncan, the Inland Empire heavily runs on it. 8 locations across Southern California. Rancho Cucamonga, not Rancho Margarita,
And
not
Santa
drinking right
Margarita.
now.
Now, when you get out here, I'm going to have to take you to Rancho Santa Margarita.
Yeah, you're gonna have to because it sounds like a really interesting town. I wonder if tequila is the number one liquor sold there. Um, I wouldn't be surprised with a name like Margarita in your town name. I'd be shocked if you weren't pushing out a couple of thousand liters of tequila on a regular basis. Um, Ruby's Diner, Bill, tell me about them.
Ruby's Diner, PCH, in Laguna Beach, overlooking the ocean. We're going to do a dinner and a movie There again, they are doing awesome things over there. Ned and his crew are absolutely amazing. So I'm excited to see how all this plays out coming up on the 25th.
Yeah. And then that Drunken Gentlemen's Club clothing line, man, they are putting out awesome, awesome apparel, awesome clothing. You got to check out the website. They do a great job over there. Really, it started as a drinking club and they decided to go into clothing. I don't know how you make the jump from drinking to clothing, but they figured out a way to do it and make it work for them. So make sure you're checking out Drunken Gentlemen's Club clothing line. But again, thank you to our sponsors to giving us the ability to do what we do for the fans that love baseball.
Right.
So as we go into the stolen base count and leaderboard for this week, um, not as big of a jump in the stolen base count as we have seen in years past. Um, Last week we ended at 191 stolen bases. This week we're at 356. So we're looking at what, 100 and like 50 plus stolen bases approximately, if that, probably not even that. Um, in the last week. But O'Neill Cruz is still leading that leaderboard with Pete Crow Armstrong with 6, Nico Horner at 6, and then two Padres on this list, Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis as well. Um, Wrapping up the top 5. Um, Are you surprised that Ellie has not hit this list yet?
Little bit. But you know what's interesting is you said not as many. So I did a quick math. Last week there was a total of 191 stolen bases. This week we added 165, so we almost doubled the entire count, which I thought was interesting. Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis will not stay on this leaderboard all season. They're too old. Well, Fernando's not. Manny is. Nico Horner and Pete Crow Armstrong do not surprise me. O'Neill Cruz will be up here the entire time. I am a little surprised that Ellie hasn't hit this yet.
I'm actually trying to find Ellie on the stolen base board on MLB.com, and I am having a hard time finding his name to even see if he's had a stolen base. I think he's
Yeah.
had one. I feel
Let
like he's
me
had at least one.
let me see if I can let me see if I can
Hey,
find
Dela Cruz have a stolen base this season? If he doesn't, we're all gonna be like the world is coming to an end. Where is this man? Where are you, Ellie? Where are you?
Ellie De La Cruz.
Probably be easier if I just looked his name up, to be honest with you, because now I'm on like page 6 of this list and nothing is popping.
So he has 2 home runs. He's batting 236. Stolen bases this season. He has 3.
Okay. So must have just missed his name. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see that he is really not starting off as hot on the running path as he has, especially last year. I mean, last year by this time, I felt like he had like 16 stolen bases in the, start off the season. It was just,
So here's what's interesting. If you look at his breakdown, though, Sam, he is kind of on the move. So he only has 13 hits for the season. Of those 13 hits, 3 of them doubles, 2 of them are home runs. So that means he has 8 singles, right? Of those 8 singles, he has 3 stolen bases and 1 caught stealing. So he is moving a little bit. It's just he needs to get on more.
yeah. No, and I mean 100%. I mean, he's got to get on base. And the Reds have not had a great start to their season, so it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, he's got to do what he needs to do to get on base. He's got to use his strike zone, he's got to use his height to his advantage. Maybe not squatting as much in the box as he does. Maybe he's got to extend his level in the box to extend his strike zone to give him more opportunities, even if it's just a walk. He's got to get on. But yeah, this leaderboard is pretty intense. But I think the more shocking thing to me is this home run leaderboard. This home run leaderboard, it just makes zero sense.
Yeah.
We have five
Uh,
players, five players right now, all with 6 home runs. Five of them.
Tommy
It,
Tanks. Tommy Tanks.
Thanks. Aaron Judge, Tommy Edelman, Kyle Schwarber, Tyler Soderstrom, and Mike Trout,
Tommy
all with
Edmond, not
Tommy Edmond. I'm sorry.
Tommy
All with
Tanks. Don't mess up Tommy Tanks. For all
oh,
of you Dodger
I
fans,
won't
make
I
sure you
won't mess
at
him up.
Sam.
Don't you worry. But
At
yeah,
Sam.
all of these guys have 6 home runs. And then honestly, right behind them, we got 8 players with 5 home runs, 7 players with 5 home runs. So we're seeing a lot more home runs from a lot of players that I don't think any of us expected to see on this board.
Tommy Tanks. Tommy Tanks. Guy's gonna hit 75 home runs this season.
75 home runs? Really?
Yeah. 75 home runs. The guy weighs like a buck 30, but he's gonna hit 75 home runs.
If
Dodgers
you're
are
if you're listening to some Bleacher Brothers radio, my head is down and I'm shaking my head because I can't believe what
Dodgers
you're
are gonna win
saying.
132 games. Tommy Tanks is gonna hit 75 home runs. I'm
Yeah.
taking the over on that. If that's the over under, I'm taking the over on that.
Yeah, well, your initial prediction at the beginning of the season of 161 and 1 has been completely demolished. So we can now take your 132 and 30 and make that your new guess of how the Dodgers will end their season.
138, something like that. Aaron Judge is going to hit 21 home runs, and Tommy Tanks is going to hit 75 this season.
Yeah, okay.
You heard it here.
And I'm going to grow a foot and win the lottery in the next like week and a half.
So, are you going to grow a foot east to west or north to south?
Probably east to west, but maybe north to south. I mean, I'm 5'7" already, so me growing any further than that would be a shocking moment.
Oh, this is getting fun. For those of you listening on Bleacher Brothers, yeah, this is awesome. I mean, you gotta just wait until we get into the segment where we're gonna really throw it down. I mean, we're 33 minutes into this thing, and Sam and I are gonna have a lot of fun in the next topic. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah. But right now last week we had 265 home runs. Right now we're at 429. Still on pace to break last year's record,
Hmm.
but not on pace to beat the 2023 number of 5,800 home
Yeah.
runs. Now, I would say, because we talked about this before the show, that we did see a dip this week in the number of home runs than we did the week prior. Do you think do you think the weather that we've
Yes.
had in the last week has been the biggest contributing factor to that?
Yes. 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 You're seeing a lot of weather. You're seeing a lot of weather right now happening. A lot of weather right now happening. When it heats up and you got the humidity down in Atlanta and all over the East Coast, yeah, you're going to see balls fly out of the yard.
Oh yeah.
Um, but the fact that we had 164 home runs last week with games, I mean, my gosh, the Phillies Braves game where they had a 4 hour rain delay.
Yep.
I mean, what's that tell you? And it was funny because I saw something on Instagram that said the game's going to resume at 11:30 Eastern time, and the rain is supposed to resume again at 12:30 a.m. And it was like or it was in the seventh inning. I thought, well, you've got 1 hour to play 3 innings. Ready, go.
Yeah. Well, I think in this day and age of baseball, you can get through 3 innings in an hour with the
Hmm.
pitch clock and things of that nature. But yeah, we're seeing with the weather that we've been facing across the country in the last week and a half to 2 weeks.
Mhm.
that we don't typically see. I mean, I think this has been like one of the craziest weather systems and changes in that I've seen in a baseball season. So 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 consistent across the league. It's been crazy to see the number
Yeah.
of rain delays and delay just total games being postponed and things of that nature that I've seen it this early in the season ever.
Well, I mean, there was a game I was watching yesterday that the team that actually ended up winning the game was probably going to end up losing it because I knew the team was going to come back that was losing, but it ended in 6 innings. And
Oh, yeah, because that team that was coming back was going to score 9 runs. Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, Bill. As you mentioned it, you know what? Let's not even waste any more time. You want to bring that up, Bill? I'm going to throw you to the fire. Let's jump into Bill's corner this week. Bill,
okay,
take me through it. Let's just
so
talk about
so listen, there's an old '80s song by Cool Mo D called Wild Wild West. And the chorus was a deep voice Wild Wild West. Um, the the West, the National League West is insane right now. The Padres are starting off. I'm not gonna lie to you. The Padres are starting off a lot better than what I thought that they would start off as. The Giants are starting better than most people thought. I knew the Giants improved. The Dodgers are start. I mean, I can't complain at 11-4, right? Um, the Diamondbacks have had some injuries, and the Rockies are exactly where the Rockies are. So the West is all kinds of wild. Uh, but if you ask me, most improved team right now, I would say the Giants, which uh, I just threw up a little bit in my mouth right there. But if you
it.
ask me, most improved team was the Giants. Gosh, that's hard to get out.
I
Um,
bet.
but my question's going to be with the Giants and the Padres and the Dodgers, none of those teams have really taken on each other in their 13 game series yet. So the question's going to be is what can they do when they're not playing each other? And are they going to cannibalize each other when they play each other? So that's where it's really going to be. Sam, the West. Let's talk the West.
Let's talk the West because as a Giants fan that came into the season with not the highest expectations, but had expectations that they would be better. They are blowing my freaking mind. And it's finally nice as a homer, I can be so excited to see this team and how they're playing. Elliot Ramos was on an interview yesterday with MLB before they played the Yankees, who they absolutely demolished in only a 6 inning game. Elliot Ramos said he's like, we're not backing down from anybody. And I think you're seeing it. I think the Giants are proving that they're not backing down from any team that comes their way. Um, they're playing really good nose to the grindstone baseball. They're taking advantage of anything that comes their way. They are not letting any team like get away with anything right now.
Mhm.
Nothing. And I think they're seeing them take a lot of advantage of it. What now you brought up a really good point
As I
that
always do.
well, it doesn't surprise me. But none of the teams really in the National League have played each other yet. I think the only team that has played the only in division series we've had so far, and correct me if I'm wrong, has been the Rockies versus the D-backs.
The Padres are playing the Rockies right now.
Okay. So we're in that second official series of in division, that second in division series in the of the year.
So yeah, so I'm actually here's what's gonna be interesting, Sam, and it comes down. April is the month where you kind of set. Now, again, please don't at me, people, but here April is kind of where you set the table, so to speak, right? And you set your table and you look at it and you say, okay, how does, do we get enough breathing room? So I'll start with your team, Sam. So this month is your battle tested month. Okay.
Yep.
This is your month. You get two more in the Bronx. Then you go to the city of brotherly love for 4 games, which you're
Yep.
aware of because you're going to some of those games.
I'm
Um,
actually going to the Yankees game tomorrow, the Yankees Giants game tomorrow.
awesome. And then you have 3 games with the Angels who are playing a little bit better than what was anticipated. You go home, you play Milwaukee for 4, Texas for 3, and then you go back on the road and end the season or end the month with the Padres. So those are battle tested games. Those are all teams that have started out very, very hot,
Yeah.
right? If you can play 600 ball like you've been playing 730 ball, but if you can play 600 ball in that avenue, you guys have a lot of bragging rights, a lot of bragging rights.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Padres, they play the Rockies, they play 3 with the Cubs, then they go on the road to Houston, who is struggling a little bit. They go on the road to Detroit, Tampa Bay, and the Giants. So their schedule is somewhat, it's not battle tested, but it's somewhat. Dodgers play the Cubs, they play the Rockies, then they go on the road for Texas and Colorado. Then they come home and they play uh, Pittsburgh and Miami. So there's no battle testing right there for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So it's going to all depend on how those games play out. Now, baseball is a very funky thing, everybody. So I mean, the Dodgers got, as Sam called it, manhandled, which they did by the Nationals, who are a much better team than one would think. But you actually could look at the Nationals and say, you should win 3 out of 4 of those games.
Yeah. And I couldn't agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, the out of the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Giants in this first month
Hmm.
have the hardest schedule of those three teams.
Hmm.
Soup to nuts. And they are, but one of the things that's encouraging is how they've, you know, approached each of those games. They've approached each of those games as we're going to win and we're not going to let anything stop us from winning. And I think as we go, the Giants right now have a long stretch of games, but without a day off. Now, luckily, the day off that we're going to have in the coming weeks is going to be against the Padres, is going to be before we face the Padres after that Ranger series. But yeah, I mean, the Giants are the team that have the most hot teams in baseball coming up in the next 2.5 weeks. Whereas
Yeah,
the Dodgers have the coldest teams in baseball in the next 2.5 weeks.
yeah,
And the Padres are kind of playing the middle ground. Um, so it's again, as a Giants fan, this is great. I'm loving this right now. I am just like riding high on this horse of just saying, keep playing good baseball. Just keep playing. Just keep having fun. And I think we're seeing it a lot with just what they're doing on the field. Willie Adamas has come in and really taken on a leadership role and brought up a level of energy in that clubhouse that the Giants haven't seen in the last 5 years.
100%. 100%.
What's
And
gonna
again, like I say, you guys are good. You guys have started off good. You said it best when you said that they're kind of blowing your expectations. I did not expect the Giants to start off 10-3. But again, it's a small knock on wood, any major injuries happen because I always want to play the best. I always want to beat the best, right? But you could end up with a scenario, who knows? You could end up with a scenario where two guys go down and it destroys your season. We've already lost Fred. Remember, in in that last those last 9 games that we played, we haven't had Freddie in the lineup. And
Yeah.
so would he have made a difference in Washington or Philly? Probably. Would the Dodgers have won more games? Maybe. I don't know. But you know, you just gotta make sure that the Padres ride and die on Tatis and Machado. So if
Yeah.
one of those guys goes out, there's a lot less protection for them. That will
Mhm.
change everything.
Yeah. What's going to be the Achilles heel for
For
these teams?
those three teams, injuries.
Yeah.
Now, if I were going to say the deepest team, as far as like if you take one out, you still have another, is obviously the Dodgers, right?
100%.
Is obviously the Dodgers. But I mean, again, the Padres are their fan base is lights out. Their fan base is hungry. Their fan base is hungry for another World Series. They want it. They're itching for it. Yeah. I mean, you should feel the energy that this fan base has down there. But the question becomes, can those two big guys stay healthy?
Yeah. No, 100%. And like you said, that Padres team rides or dies on Machado and Tatis. One of those guys goes out, there really isn't a next man up in the situation to throw into that spot. They really don't have it. They didn't do much this offseason to find backups for those two guys. Their young guys in the farm system are not anywhere close to developed and ready enough to be in the majors to take on that type of role. So to solely rely the majority of your offense on those two players is very scary. Now, and the Dodgers could lose. And Bill, obviously, knock on wood. I hope this doesn't happen, but the Dodgers could lose three of their starting nine offensive players, and they have pretty dang good backfills for each of those guys, no matter the position. No matter the position. And on the defensive side of the ball, there's even more. You could lose 6 players defensively and have 6 great defensive players come in and fill those slots up. So when you're looking overall at depth, I think, yeah, you're right. The Dodgers have it. But for me, what's encouraging is that when, like, from the Giants standpoint, because they didn't bring them up, they've got decent guys at every backfill position that could come in and fill a role. Because none of the guys on the Giants, except like Chapman and Willie Adames, are superstar players. None of them. So to be able to have good players out there and then have good players as your backfills, you're kind of being able to run on that consistency factor.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the West is going to be the division to watch. It's the only division in baseball, I believe. And let me just do one final quick check on this so I don't make a fool of myself as I've done in previous episodes because I'm usually a proponent of forgetting to update something. The NL West is the only division in baseball that has that has teams with double digit wins.
Right. They have three teams with double-digit wins.
No other division even has a team with a double digit win. None.
Right.
There is not a single other team in baseball with double digit win. There's a
Now
single
that could change. That could change today because there's a
100%.
couple of teams that have 9 wins.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. And again, to your point, Sam, asking about the Achilles heel. Okay, God forbid this happens. Shohei goes down. Okay, so you got Mookie, you got Freddie, you got Will Smith, you got Teoscar, all these things, right? Willie Adames or Matt Chapman goes down, that's a big deal for the Giants.
Yeah,
Fernando Tatis or Manny Machado goes down, that's a big deal for the Padres.
right.
Now, don't get me wrong, Shohei Ohtani is a generational talent that the likes of something we'll probably never ever see again. But
Maybe in 100 years we'll see it, but at that point we won't be here, so who cares?
well, I got plans till age 150, so I'll still be here.
Oh, you're gonna go with the cryo freezing thing we talked
Well,
about?
I'm just, I'm just saying a lot of prayers that I make it to 150
Fair
because
enough.
I got a lot of things to accomplish. I figure if I make it to 150, the Padres have a chance to win the World Series by then. The Angels may have won a World Series again by then. Um,
The
you know,
Rockies will have above a 500 season by then.
very possibly, and the Red Sox will not have won another World Series, but they'll have come close,
Are they gonna go in like another 96-year bender?
something like that.
Something like that.
Against Drew Buckner. No,
Don't tell Mike you said that. Don't tell Mike you said
I'm saying it in jest. I'm saying it in
that.
jest. And I'll tell Mike I'm done on it.
Oh, I
So,
know you will. We're gonna
anyways,
touch real quickly on our next subject.
yeah,
What we're seeing a
briefly.
lot is, what I've been noticing a lot more in baseball, especially in this first 14, 15 games of the season, is we're seeing a lot of small ball on the offensive side. We're seeing a lot of bunts where players are running it out to get to first, throwing off the infield, taking them out. We're seeing a lot of players at the plate rather than squaring up for the jack. They're opening up their stance to allow for the let to get to right field, get to left field, get right over the second baseman's head, causing the outfield disruption there. And we're also seeing a lot of guys on the base path. We're seeing a lot of guys being more aggressive, whether they get out on a steal or taking the risk to get the player over. They're taking it there. There's a lot of small ball happening. So, Bill, are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing,
Yes.
or I'm just crazy?
Yeah, no, well, you are crazy, but so am I. We're both crazy, and we put these things up on YouTube. We both have faces for radio. We get it. Listen, we're not surprised, right? For those of you at Bleacher Brothers right here, I bet you everybody now that's listening to this on Bleacher Brothers, like, we're gonna go watch it on YouTube, see what talking about. No, you're not crazy, Sam. You're starting to see it a little bit more, and you're starting to see it with teams that are winning. Again, the teams that rely on power, the Yankees, the Dodgers, for the most part, the Phillies. You're not seeing a lot of this small ball happening. The pitchers that you have on the screen are of the Orioles, of the Guardians, and of the Reds. All of those teams are playing small ball. All of those teams are playing small ball because they're not going to hit. They're not going to have 6,000 Jimmy Jacks like the Dodgers or Yankees or the Phillies will. And so, yeah, so you're absolutely right. And to me, small ball is the way to win. Again, 30 seconds. I saw this on a Dodger game recently. First and second, nobody out. Max Muncy's up. They kind of throw a little bit of a shift on him, but not the extreme shift. Why not bunt the ball down the first baseline, move the runners over? I think he was batting seventh, right? And then you had Tommy Edmonds and you had Miguel Cabrera. Tommy Tanks is killing the ball right now.
Yeah,
But instead, Max Muncy, I believe, struck out. Tommy popped out, and Miguel struck out. So, or no, Tommy flew out, and Miguel flew out. Now, had they had bunted um, and got it over second and third, they would have scored a run on Tommy Edmonds' flyout.
right.
Just
Now,
saying.
so on the flip side of this, what about the teams on the other side of the ball that are aggressively being defensive to protect this? I mean, I saw yesterday in that Giants Yankees game. Now, granted, it only went 6 innings, but you know, the, I was seeing the defensive side go straight to home plate rather than going for the easy out at first. I saw an incredible play where Volpe threw the ball to third and then threw a double and then got the double play by throwing it from third to first to get the double play. I
Mm.
mean, we're seeing great baseball on both sides. So are we gonna? Do you think this is gonna consistently run throughout the season, real quick, or do you think this is
I
eventually
do.
gonna slow
I do.
itself down?
I do because you've got to when you have, and I sound like a homer here, but I'm not. When you have a team, people are calling the Dodgers a super team. When you see a super team come up, or when you see a team come in hot, like the Angels are right now, you got to find ways to get outs, and you got to be creative. So yes,
I couldn't agree more with you. So we got more topics to talk about, and we're gonna talk about them next week because we're wrapping up on time. Bill, take me through this incredible podcast schedule because this schedule is awesome.
Monday is American League with Ashley as usual. Brian and his son Jackson. We've had Brian on before. Brian's a Braves fan. Jackson's a Dodgers fan. Jackson is so excited. He's a teenager. He's so excited to be on the podcast. It's going to be an exciting time for him. And then you've got Lou, an Angel fan, on the podcast this Wednesday. Thursday is Unraveling Baseball with Mike from Heads Up Sports Cards. And Friday, new podcast guest, Dwayne, Angels fan. Now, we it may feel a little bit like it's angel centric this week. Well, we just had an Angels event, an Angels watch party. So yeah, we have some people that are going to be intermingling into the podcast through that.
Love to see it. Love to see the new fan base coming into the clubhouse. We want
Yes.
to bring more fans in. If you're a fan of a team, reach out to us. We want to interview. We want to talk to you. We want to know what you love about this great sport that we call baseball. So make sure you're reaching out to me. Make sure you're reaching out to Bill at Top Fan Rivalry. We'll get you on the podcast. We'll get you on ATD. We'll bring you on. We want to talk to you. That's why we're here. We want to just
Es-
expand the fan base.
Especially if you have a face for radio like us.
Yes, especially if you have a face for radio. More Bill than me, but yes, face for radio. Um,
Tough crowd.
hey, I had to throw one last little dagger in there for you.
Listen, I'm gonna make a bet with you where you have to shave, so we'll see. Um,
Yeah, you get to be the one that brings that to my wife and see how she reacts. Um, what about we've got it's sports talk, it's fan involved
yeah, we
every
got a Sports Talk.
Thursday.
It's fan involved in the leagues is going to be great this week with Stephanie, and then Carrie and Jen. The series recap is already set up for tomorrow night. Life is going to be good there. We're going to give you a lot of content throughout the season. Trust me, you're going to be tired of
Oh
us
yeah.
at the end of the season.
You're gonna be tired of talking Dodger baseball by the end of the season after all of those
2025
series.
World Champion Los Angeles Dodgers baseball.
Yeah. This Monday, don't miss out on the Top Fan Rivalry Instagram live feed. We got a dual box break coming this week. We got the Topps 2022 Heritage. We're not going high number. We're going traditional heritage this week. And we're looping that in with a beautiful box of 2021 Donruss Optic. These are two incredible boxes, great cards, beautiful material, beautiful picture images on them. A lot of great players in these boxes. Always like to throw in a vintage box, and getting two this week is the chef's kiss, if you ask me. So make sure you are checking out Instagram 6 p.m. this Monday Pacific Standard Time for the 27 Outs Club box break. Once again, we want to quickly thank our sponsors, Drunken Gentlemen's Club, Ruby's Diner, and the PCH, and the Inland Empire running on Duncan because America runs on it, but the Inland Empire only runs on it. Bill, as we wrap this up, you got any final comments for the fans out there?
No, none whatsoever. There's still only only one. There's still only a few slots left for the 27 Outs Club. You want to join that? That is $27 a month. You get two box breaks inside that club of your team. You get a $5 off coupon with it. You get priority shipping. You get all kinds of fun stuff with that. Or we put you on a hold status, so we send you a bunch of stuff. It's like Christmas Day every time you get it. So we're excited for that. You want to make sure that you're involved with that.
That is awesome. And you got to wrap this up before I take us through this last line, as you always do, Bill. Give it to me.
Go, fight, win,
That is
Dodgers.
right. Make sure you are checking out TopFanRivalry.com for new articles, podcasts, merch, the t-shirt, and 27 Outs Card Club, exclusive member events, virtual and live and in person, as well as our annual Top Fan Rivalry Fan Fest. It is an amazing group, an amazing organization, and an amazing fan base of baseball fans that just love the game. So make sure you are checking it out. And from me to you, as I always say, we will see you next